So Zhongli, the CEO of GEO, the Lord of Contracts, and sadly, I do not have this character. It is the Big Sag. But today we are going to be looking into the character of Zhongli and just why he is an ISTJ. Now, if you know anything about ISTJs, you do happen to know that why Zhongli would fit the title of an ISTJ. It says that he is a person who holds an air of nostalgia. He knows much about Liyue's history and culture, in part due to his time as the Geo Archon. Like Venti, has had many experiences and memories as he was a god well before the Seven even existed. He is literally the oldest being in Tevat, I think. We don't know about the gods in Celestia, but like in Tevat proper, he is the oldest. And he holds philosophical ideas towards money and has great respect for Liyue's traditions, including those that have been forgotten or warped over time. So, Zhongli is a man who appreciates the traditions, will follow those traditions, will follow the contracts that are set upon himself. He set the whole system up to follow certain rules and contracts and essentially let the people govern themselves, but like kind of give them a hands-on help should they need it, using his past history. He has very much those very strong psi tendencies, very detailed. I think he was even mentioned to look like, or not look like, but to be a walking encyclopedia, which many ISTJs can be. Quite interestingly enough, especially with all the information that they may consume, he has his routine habits that he constantly goes and does, whether it be having tea in the same place day in and day out throughout the centuries, whether it be going about his daily walk in the same kind of area in the same kind of way. Although we don't really see what his whole routine looks like, but he does have a routine. He has vast knowledge of the entire earth and stones and all of that in Liyue. But that is not what he is. Like, yes, he is the Geo Archon, but he is also the Archon of Contracts. And that is where a lot of his realm presides, and he keeps to it. Like, if you break a contract, he will punish you. Whether that punishment be truth that you don't want to hear, like in the one quest, or whether it be a other punishment, like he will find a fitting punishment should a contract be broken, because that's how severely he finds rules, traditions, contracts, and all of that. Everything has been set around rules, regulations, contracts, and traditions in Liyue, and they are kind of to be followed, even though he understands that they do change over time. A lot of these remain the same, probably due to the Adepti and all the other people in Liyue. He also, I don't know what time he decided to become part of the Wangshen funeral parlors, but he is their consultant. They go to him for consulting, and it says that since nobody knows where Zhongli is from, due to him being the Archon, and he likes being incognito. If you've ever read Rex Lapis Incognito, it says here that he is a master of courtesy and rules. His grasp of Liyue traditions is superior to that of any scholar, period. From his seat at Wangshen Funeral Parlor, he performs all manner of rituals, prepare proper clothing, auspicious timing, locations, appliances, observations, and regulations. All such things can be left in his hand without care, because he is impeccable at doing whatever duty he has set apart to do. Whatever he has set himself to do, he will do it. Now, there is a place where I think you have to kind of look at the weakest function to understand why they are a certain type sometimes. For Zhongli, he lacked the foresight to set Liu Wei up into the future to figure out what they can do, and since Mora is no longer going to be made, what they can do new money, what will become. He lacked the foresight to understand the future or come up with any ideas or come up. In his mind, he thought that like the people can either figure it out or eventually something will happen. It's not his place. He has done his duty. He has done his job. He has done his thing. And he quite frequently likes, you know, being off by himself, which shows his introverted nature. And because he's like incredibly smart and because of his routines, that shows his introverted sensing nature, to be more specific. And then, of course, he is fairly smart and has things orderly, and everything has to be within a certain order. And, of course, the famous line,
I will have order.
So for him, a lot of things about order, which fall into the category of T, or extroverted thinking. Then, of course, he has the morals and things that he personally holds dear that must be upheld by. He is very much like, I could hit off all of the functions for Zhongli, and he matches it like clockwork. It is insane. So it goes on to say just how insane things are in Wangshan Funeral Parlor, where it essentially says not even the most particular and learned of researchers or scholars could find one fault in Wangshan Funeral Parlor ceremonies for sending adepti off. Everything must be perfect, from the costumes, the time, the place, the items, the weather, the scheduled length, the size of permitted audience, the stature, profession, and age of said audience. Nothing can be overlooked. And people just look at Zhongli as living history, and he just smiles and says, oh, I just have good memory. It's like, no. It's not just that he has good memory. He has lived it. He has experienced it. He has followed those traditions to a T. Like, if this doesn't scream ISTJ, I do not know what does. He is probably the clearest, low-hanging fruit person to pick off that you can say, this man, this guy, 100% this. Now, some people may disagree and may think he has something else, but no, he is perhaps one of like the best examples of an ISTJ in this game. And like to the point where Zhongli, it says, but as for Zhongli, he is particular about everything. He must attend operas by the most celebrated performers, take the most luxurious thrushes out for walks, and he must go into the kitchen personally to instruct the cooks as to the ratio of scallops and fish to make the most authentic full moon egg. Zhongli has expertise in all manners of things from fashion to daily necessities, wine and snacks, teas, spices, flora and fauna. He will even actively debate affairs of trade, state, and international relations. But he only ever fills you in on some useless trivia because he enjoys sharing interesting things with you. I feel like this is 100% something an ISTJ would come up and do and be like, hey, did you know this interesting fact of trivia? Like, and a lot of ISTJs have a lot of trivia that they know, some even more obscure than others. He has, and to like further proof, like not only is he the oldest, but when it comes to Morax or Rex Lapis, he has lived through so many centuries and years that, and is the eldest of the seven, and was like existed long before so many of the other deities and gods that existed and survived a lot of it. And he walked the earth in that way, and the historians also call him the god of history. So not only is he the god of contracts or archon of godtracks, not only is he archon of geo, not only is he the archon of trade and economy and commerce and mora and all of that, but he's also the god of history. Like, I don't know how much further I need to go into, which shows how much he is an ISTJ. Like, basically, like, even with his Phi nature, if you break a contract, if you go back on your word to Zhongli, you will suffer the wrath of the rock. Which varies in degrees into like what that can look like, but it is insane because he will not bend, he will not change. His ways have been set, the way he does things is set. Like, yeah, he's like a relatively easy to get along with person and whatnot, as long as you don't go against certain guidelines, rules, contracts, etc., 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 etc. And yes, he is, now taking a long deserved break, and is essentially he's done. Like, he has made agreements, he has done his thing. Now he's figured, hey, you know what, I will retire and go in peace. But he still does many of his ISTJ type things, still has a lot of his ISTJ like knowledge. So yeah, don't know what else to say, but Zhongli 100% an ISTJ.